Now to our top story this morning. The woman convicted of killing her 2 children in Union County 30 years ago has a chance to walk free.
In just a few hours, Susan Smith will go before the state's parole hearing. Now, this case, it dates all the way back to 1994. The situation captured the attention of the nation. It was in downtown Union, where Susan Smith first spoke in front of news cameras, claiming that she had been carjacked by a black man. She would later confess that she let her car roll into a lake with her 2 sons inside. Now these are the 2 boys right here. Michael was 3 and Alex just 14 months. Smith was convicted of killing them and then sentenced to life in prison with the chance of parole after 30 years. Fox Carolina's investigative team has been looking back on this case ahead of her parole hearing today, and we're hearing from the community as they react to the fact that Smith has a chance at freedom.
I just remember her getting on camera and crying after knowing what she did.
I knew from the get-go a black man didn't take her child.
I don't think she should be released. Any parent that kills a child, they don't deserve any freedom.
She has some mental illnesses that weren't addressed, and I think that everybody kind of threw her under the bus, and she just didn't get the help she needed.
No, I mean, she's done her time, I guess.
Well, we're also hearing reaction from the solicitor who worked the case. That's Tommy Pope.
I try not to think of Susan Smith very often, but the truth is it'll follow me to my grave. I think she shouldn't get out ever. I will say that to the parole board.
So the Susan Smith case is something we've covered extensively here on Fox Carolina, and one that's left its mark on the upstate community.
Fox Carolina's Grace Runkle has much more on what we can expect to come out of that courtroom this morning.
In just a few hours, Susan Smith will go before the parole board and ask for a second chance. Now, we've learned what factors will play into the board's decision and who is expected to speak at the hearing. South Carolina's parole board is made up of 7 seats, 1 for each congressional district. However, 1 seat has been vacant for 2 years. So if the rest of the board is in attendance, Susan will have to get a 2/3 vote in favor of her parole. In this case, that's 4 votes for her serving the rest of her sentence in the community. For the last 2 weeks, each board member will have been reviewing Smith's case file. That includes her disciplinary record behind bars and her most recent infraction of communicating with a documentarian. It will also include any letters submitted to the board about this case. The department says so far they've received more than 400. And finally, the board will be able to hear from the solicitor who worked the case, Tommy Pope.
I think she shouldn't get out ever.
And any victims of the crime. In this case, Michael and Alex's father, David Smith.
That would be a total injustice if she was to get out.
They'll also be hearing from Susan herself. However, she won't be appearing in person, but instead via video call. Just looking at the odds, Susan's chances of parole are pretty low. The average parole rate by this board is just 6%, and it's even lower if it's the offender's first time going before the board, as it is for Susan Smith. Grace Runkle, Fox Carolina News.
Well, you can find all of our extended coverage of the Susan Smith case, including a link to watch our documentary 30 to Life, which includes more of our interviews with the boy's father and exclusive other interviews as well. Just click on the Susan Smith tab. We're also going to have live coverage from Columbia this morning, bringing you the first alert. A great way to stay connected is through the free Fox Carolina News app. Just scan the QR code on your screen, or you can always find it in the App Store or Google Play. 6:06.